What's up guys, it's Red back once again, and today we are going to be diving into my thoughts on who the possible characters are going to be for our upcoming Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC. Now again, the DLC has been getting a lot of talk and a lot of speculation over the past couple days as everyone is excited and full of anticipation. Now personally, I'm just going into this DLC hoping that we can come away with a couple of cool characters, even if they're not ones I want personally. And again, this list is my expectations and not necessarily my want list. I will try to give my thoughts behind why certain characters are there as best I can. That said, let's hop right into it. Now I've separated the DLC into two separate timelines. One of these I'm labeling the Redemption timeline, and the other I'm labeling the Subpar timeline or the Shill timeline. So let's jump right in and tackle two slots at once. And I want to do that because I think no matter which of these timelines we get, these two slots will be consistent in both timelines. And those slots belong to a Square Enix rep and a Namco rep. I think no matter how this shakes down, we will be getting one rep from both of those developers. Now for Square, as I'm sure you know, there's been tons of talk going around at who the characters could possibly be. So let's have a look at it from timeline A, the Redemption timeline. All things considered, I think it's a fairly close battle between Dragon Quest rep, Sora, and Geno. I think everyone can agree that either of these three characters would make a large amount of people happy. Geno fans are quite numerous, Sora fans are in the same ballpark, and Dragon Quest has a whole country behind it. I think in this timeline, these three choices definitely lead the pack, and it's really up to Nintendo and Square on where the chips fall for this one. I don't think Disney would hold Sora back, but I'm not certain Nintendo and Square will want to split their profits even further. There's no telling who's going to come out ahead in this race, but I feel confident it's going to be one of these three. Next is the Namco rep. I still find it hard to believe Nintendo would not offer them a roster slot since they are again helping with the development of Smash Ultimate just as they did with Smash 4. It's a lock in my eyes. Now as for who the character can be, there really aren't too many choices in my eyes. The big contenders being both Lloyd and Yuri from the Tales of series and Heihachi from the Tekken series. Now Sakurai is on record for speaking highly of both Lloyd and Heihachi, but his hands may be tied with this situation. Yuri is a character that has a game releasing on the Switch very soon with Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. And I think it makes sense for all parties involved to go with that choice. Plus, Yuri and Lloyd are in the same ballpark when it comes to popularity, so it's not like it's a huge discrepancy one way or the other. From there we move on to a Microsoft rep. I think this does seem quite likely. The two have been incredibly chummy as of late, almost developing sort of a bromance back when they were bashing Sony for not being as involved with crossplay. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they were invited for one of the slots. Now, the big two contenders on everyone's mind I think are Steve and Banjo-Kazooie. Both have had talk around the scenes with insiders and leakers. Now personally, I think Steve is leading in this category, and it's kind of funny how this one might play out because I actually think Microsoft would have been the ones to offer Banjo-Kazooie to Nintendo when the discussions were happening. I feel Microsoft has a lot to gain by doing that. Nuts and bolts sold terribly. It was trash, let's just be honest. If Microsoft has any plans in the future of bringing Banjo back, it would make incredible sense for them to get him into Smash and rehash that old love for him in a familiar setting and appearance. However, I think it's actually Nintendo who would be reaching for Steve. It's no secret that Minecraft is popular. Incredibly popular. So popular that it's the second most sold video game ever, only behind Tetris. Minecraft would bring a ton of buzz with a Steve inclusion, and Nintendo and Microsoft have been pushing the Minecraft crossplay really hard. While I think Microsoft would want Banjo in, I think they would concede and still add Steve because that still benefits them in the end as well. It does end up being a win for both sides. Moving on, we have another slot that I am a little bit unsure about. I can see this spot playing out a few ways. Either we get a first party rep joining, like maybe Bandana Waddle Dee or a Xenoblade character or something along those lines, or I think it could be a world where Ubisoft gets a rep. Similar to Microsoft, Ubisoft and Nintendo have also had quite a good relationship as of late. They've been getting along really well. I could see Nintendo reaching out to them as well to get in on the action. However, while I think Rayman does have a chance, I go against the grain on this and think Nintendo would elect to go with the Rabbids instead. Just a gut feeling, but Rabbids are the ones who have had the Nintendo inclusion as of late. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle actually sold extremely well, and I think a lot of people actually enjoy the design of the Rabbids. And I think the Rabbids can offer a unique design similar to how a Chorus Kid's appearance may have been. They can choose to have a team consisting of 3 Rabbids, the Mario, Peach, and Luigi Rabbids. Now I think including them would be a bit tone deaf by Nintendo towards the Rayman fans, but hey, anything is possible these days. But if it's not Ubisoft, I think it does fall to a first party rep. It could be either Kirby or Zelda. Both have not received a rep since Brawl. I think choosing one is a shot in the dark, so I'm not certain as to which one it would be. And then the final slot for this timeline. Nothing anyone says can convince me otherwise that this spot will not be saved for either an 8th generation Pokemon or a Fire Emblem Three Houses character. One of those 2 reps will be on this DLC roster. You can book it. Nintendo will not miss this chance to shill and promote one of those new games that are coming to Switch. They know those franchises will bring money, so it's really just that simple. They're not going to miss out on this chance. But overall, to be honest, I would be okay with this timeline. I think it's pretty balanced and offers something for everyone, while still allowing Nintendo to get their shill on and promote a few things that would help them out. If our DLC does shape up to be like this, I'm okay with it because I can say it wasn't a complete cop-out by Nintendo. Now that wraps up Timeline A, the Redemption timeline. Let's move over to Timeline B, which I called the Subpar or the Shill timeline. Again, right off the bat, I still think that both of those 2 first slots will be accompanied by Square and Namco. I just find it hard to believe they don't get slots. The only difference in this timeline is that if Nintendo is indeed going for maximum shill and promotion, then Dragon Quest has a far superior lead on the other Square reps. Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't seem to be coming to Switch anytime soon, Geno has nothing to promote. If Nintendo want to take full advantage of promotion, they will choose the rep that has an entire country behind it and that has a game porting to Switch very soon after Ultimate's release. It seems like a Dragon Quest rep would sell like hotcakes for them in Japan and would still make them decent money in the West as well due to the Fighter's Pass. Now for the Namco rep, I think either way Yuri is probably in the lead now, especially if they are looking to shill. As I said earlier, Nintendo probably doesn't want to miss out on that free promotion. While Tales is a decently popular series, there's still a ton of people who don't know what it is. Using Smash to get people invested in the character of Yuri could easily transition a bunch of Smash fans into Tales fans, as well as convert those sweet sales for Definitive Edition. Now the next slot is again one I'm unsure of, but I think it may be something super promotional. There's been a ton of talk about Catalina from Granblue Fantasy. I've talked before how Nintendo has stock in Cygames. This makes perfect sense for them if they wanted to bring this series to the West and try to replicate the success that Fire Emblem had by doing so. Even if they don't go with Catalina though, Nintendo does have Dragalia Lost to pull from as well. Another series I'm sure they would want to introduce to Western fans since they did team up with Cygames specifically for this project. If it's not one of those 2, I can see the slot falling to Steve for some of the reasons we did talk about earlier. Plus, Minecraft is on a huge high right now in Japan, and as recent as this summer, Minecraft was still boasting 91 million monthly players. That will be a huge factor in my eyes for Steve getting into this roster. Now that again brings us to the final 2 roster slots. This is the Shill timeline, so it makes perfect sense that these 2 slots were saved for both the 8th generation Pokemon and the Fire Emblem Three Houses rep. In the earlier timeline, I have them splitting a spot, but here both of them end up getting in. I think this certainly does have a high chance of happening. Now we still don't have much information on either of these games, so it's impossible to say who the exact character choices would be. But these are going to be 2 of, if not the biggest 2 Switch releases for 2019. Nintendo will find a way to squeeze one of them in, and in this timeline, they put both in. So there we have our 2 timelines. Personally, I'm hoping for Timeline A, but who knows what's going to happen with this DLC. I think it's going to be a wild ride either way, and it's going to be fun for me regardless of what shakes down. Now these predictions are coming out super early into all of this, so for all I know they could be incredibly off and none of this stuff actually even happens. But that being said, let me know what your guys' predictions are in the comments below. Who do you think we're getting for the DLC? I'd love to read over your thoughts. Don't forget to join the Discord server to chat with me and the other members of the community. The link is in the description below. My previous videos are right there if you want to check some out. And please subscribe with notifications on for more future content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.